Good morning. It's Monday, September 7th, 2020. It's 2:44 a.m. and I'm on my way to the gym right now. I have people ask me all the time, how do I stay motivated? Like how do I do it? How do I wake up at the time that I wake up in the morning, and how do I just keep going, and how do I keep pressing forward? And my response is always the same, because it was a source of my discipline. But I never really listened to the question, and it wasn't so much more of a question versus how do I do it. And it really comes down to the hardest thing is getting started. Once you gain momentum, once you've gained momentum in anything that you want and you've built up enough reasons, I'll never forget Tony Robbins saying that if you want something bad enough, you got to build the case for it. They want to convict R. Kelly pretty bad, so they're building a case. They're looking for any and everybody who will say they've been to his house, they endured things that he's done. They want to build a case. They want to convict. Well, the same thing exists for your personal self. You have to build up enough things to either convict it or acquit it. And for some people who've never been through the criminal system, that's going to seem like a foreign term. But the reality of the matter is, if you don't have enough reasons on why you need to do something or why you need to stop something, it's going to be hard to maintain it. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to the hardest thing is getting started. And I'll give you an example of where my discipline takes me to sometimes, and this is where it becomes a mental battle over, do I want to give in to my flesh or do I want to give in to my dream? And so my ritual at nighttime is, because I go to bed at 9 o'clock, my body will instinctively, hell, I could probably be driving. It's rare that I'll be in a car at 9 o'clock. It's probably not going to happen unless it's like a Friday, and I don't have something coming up on Saturday. I won't be out because my body will instinctually go to sleep. It's been doing it so long. So at nighttime, say around 7, my alarm is set to go off, and it like around 6:55 it'll go off, and it'll say time to slow down, time to unwind. I don't even need the alarm, honestly. But I've had it set up so long that it's almost like if you ever watched a boxing match, you may not notice it, but probably about 10 seconds before the bout is up, there's a little tiny small bell. And what that bell is an indicator that the round is almost up. It does two things. It lets the opponent that's tired know that if he just hangs on a couple more seconds, he'll be saved by the bell. It also lets the more aggressive fighter know that you got 10 seconds to knock this dude out and end it right now. But so my morning ritual or my night ritual is to once that bell goes off, I know it's time to kind of unwind and chill. And I got 2 or 3 things that I like to do before I go to bed. I like to watch YouTube. I like to watch food shows, or I like to watch technical stuff, not technical stuff, like new technology. But I also have a book that I'm reading. I have a couple books, but I'm reading one book. And I know I need to read. Reading strengthens your mind. Reading strengthens your comprehension. It strengthens your ability to understand. Your eyes. Reading is fundamental in so many areas. But I have to battle with myself. And the closer the time gets to 9 o'clock, or let's say I have to stretch as well, I have to have a conversation with myself and remind me about what's important. So I'll be sitting there watching like a show, you know, a little cooking show. There's like two people I like to watch specifically on YouTube that do like these. They travel and they look at and they eat this like crazy, insane food. And I'll have to look at this and I'll have to make a decision on whether or not I'm going to keep watching this show all the way up until the point I have to go to bed, because 9 o'clock is not negotiable. I mean, I may run over by a couple minutes, but outside of that, that time works. 9 o'clock, wake up at 1:30, that time works perfect for me. As a matter of fact, I turned my clock back 1 minute, so I'm up at 1:29. I did that just to see if it made a huge difference. A minute. I don't know yet. I'll have to get back to you on that. I just did it like a couple weeks ago. But I have to make a decision on whether or not I want to train my mind or I want to just be lazy and watch the show. And I know it's okay to like be in chill mode and kick. That's all good. Like, that's all good. But if you still trying to climb up to the point you want to be at in life, you have to ask yourself, are you in a position to be in chill mode? Because I've been doing go up, chill, go up, chill, go up, chill. And when I did that in my life, what I experienced was go up, come back down, go up, come. It was like a yo-yo. Like every time you do that versus just committing and saying, I'm just going to commit to this until what I want actually comes to fruition. Or I'm going to commit to this until it becomes such a routine, such an embedded part of my routine or my day or who I am, that I don't have to think. See, like going to the gym, I don't have to think about that. That's like, I'm going to do that. Or going to bed at 9 o'clock. I don't have to think about that. I'm going to do that. Or eating right. I'm not going to have to. I do things in excessive to a point that I've conditioned myself so hard that I don't need to think. There's no need to think. There's no need to talk about it. And so when there's situations that come up where I may not have conditioned myself, then that's where I have the conversation. That's where I have to have the talk. Hey, Germaine, it's 8:30. You're still watching the show. You should get about 30 minutes of reading in. Right? Because even when I was doing those heat runs, and for anybody that doesn't know what a heat run is, when the weather was 100 and, you know, I'd tell myself anything over 109 degrees, I'd have to go outside and run 2 or 3 miles. That's rough. That's hard. That's so unbearable. That's so disrespectful. But I would schedule it. Mentally, I'd be like, at 3 o'clock, I'd look at what the weather looked like. Weather would tell me that the heat would be, I'd always try to find it at its hottest point. I think my hottest run was 115. All right, weather says At 3 o'clock, it's going to be 1:15. And it normally was. They can't get the rain right, but they can tell you how hot, they can tell you when it's going to be hot outside. And I would just do it. So yes, the hardest part about my lifestyle was doing it. But then the more I started doing it, the more it became routine. And so now I have something to fall back on when I'm trying to add something else to my routine. I can say, wow, if you just keep doing this long enough and it's getting you the results that you want, just keep going and just don't stop. And eventually it will just become a part of who you are. And that's the thing that most people forget. They keep thinking that it's constantly an uphill battle. Like, oh my God, I'm always going to feel like this. I'm always going to feel like I don't want to go to the gym. I'm always going to feel like I have this temptation to eat what I shouldn't eat. It's in the beginning, you always start thinking the worst, that, oh man, this feeling is always going to be here. It's always going to win out. It's always going to defeat me. I'm always going to be fighting it. But little do you know that if you win the first 3 rounds in any battle that you're going into with yourself, the next 5 rounds, the next 7 rounds are easy. They become so easy that you can add another layer to who you want to be. You're no longer fighting that one. You won that battle. Now that is you. Like 9 o'clock is me. 1:30 is me. Going to the gym is me. Eating right is me. Doing these videos is me. I don't have to think about it. It's no longer like this battle. I won that. I own that territory. I own that territory. Even the Bible talks about that. When Jesus was casting out the evil spirits, and he said the evil spirit was like, he was like, yo, just throw us in those pigs over there, but don't cast us out the region. Don't cast us out the territory. We want this territory. You got to start learning how to win territory until it becomes second nature. Like breathing. It's always going to feel like a fight. It's always going to feel like a battle. But you have to keep going. And so every time I win another battle, I just add another layer. I was like, oh man, I'm just doing that naturally now. Okay. Right? So I didn't come into exercising and working out like, yeah, I'm going to have this predefined body and I'm going to I was just like, just make it to the gym, dude, on a regular basis. Just make, like, right, I just set the goal so low. Just make it every day. Just make it 2 times a day. All right, 2 times became a part of nature. Make it 3. I went and got one in yesterday. It was Sunday. Before anybody woke up, I was at the gym 4 o'clock in the morning. Before anybody got, I was like, this ain't gonna bother nobody. This ain't gonna take away from me. And I still went and spent the whole day with my kids. So every time you win a battle, every time you win in that region, that territory back, then you get to add a new layer. So now that, you know, okay, going to the gym is easy. Now I can say, all right, now I want to strengthen myself in this area. Now I can start being more specific because I've already won the battle right there. You're not going to be building buildings in territory that you haven't taken over yet. In areas that you haven't conquered yet. You have to win the battle first. Win the territory. Then build. And the only way you win it is by doing small, consistent deposits into that thing that you want. You'll know when you're ready to take on more. You'll know when now is the time. I see people going on these crazy crash diets and all this other stuff, and I'm like, that's not sustainable. I think the funniest lesson that I've learned that just really really kind of like drove it home for me was slow and steady wins the race. Consistency. When we were running up South Mountain, which is a 14-mile run, 7 miles up, or 7 miles up, 7 miles down. That's insane. And there's this little old dude. Like, we're like so inconsistent in our speed and our pace. This little old dude, I don't know, he had to be about 70, was on a little tiny road bike. And those road bikes, I have one, they don't weigh nothing. They weigh, 10, 11, 12 pounds. They ain't really no good in wind, unless the wind is at your back. Because they don't hold to the ground. They feel like they want to float up and take you with it. And here this little old guy just pedaling his little self up to the top. And I tell you what, that sucker passed us up and then passed us going back down and never was moving faster than a snail. And then I'll see people expending all their energy in the very beginning of the race, of the competition, and have no energy left to finish. Slow and steady wins the race. If you want to take back territory in your life, you just have to be slow and steady. You have to be consistent. And you got to just make small deposits every single day. And that will win you the race. That will have you in a better position to take back territory of your life. Because I didn't start off like this. I just made small, little, tiny deposits that allowed me to build on it. One brick at a time.